The helpless reality. Emma sat by the window, watching the world move without her. Cars passed by, people walked freely, and children ran across the park, laughing. For 10 long years, she had been trapped in this wheelchair, unable to take a single step. Her legs, once full of energy, now felt like lifeless weights attached to her body. She remembered the accident clearly, the crash, the pain, the darkness that followed. Doctors had tried everything, but no treatment worked. The nerves in her legs were damaged beyond repair, they said. "You will never walk again," they told her. At first, she had fought against it, hoping for a miracle. But as the years passed, hope faded. Now, at 25, she had accepted her reality. This was her life, or so she thought. A mysterious invitation. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Emma's phone buzzed. A message popped up. It was from an unknown number. "I can help you walk again. Meet me tomorrow. Midnight, 12th Street Lab. Dr. Adrian Cross." Emma stared at the message. Was this a joke? A cruel trick? She had heard of Dr. Adrian Cross before, a brilliant but controversial scientist. Some called him a genius, others called him a madman. He worked on experimental technology, things beyond normal science. Her heart pounded. Could this be real? Could he truly help her? She wanted to ignore the message, to dismiss it as nonsense. But something deep inside whispered to her, what if he's telling the truth? What if this is your last chance? That night, sleep did not come easily. A leap into the unknown. The next night, Emma arrived at the address. The building was old, its walls covered in faded posters and peeling paint. The metal door creaked as she pushed it open. The air smelled of chemicals and electricity. Inside, the room was filled with strange machines, humming, glowing, alive. Screens displayed strange symbols and diagrams. In the center of the room stood Dr. Adrian Cross. He was tall, with silver-streaked hair and sharp blue eyes that seemed to look right through her. He didn't smile, didn't offer greetings. He simply said, "You are late." Emma hesitated. "Is this real?" she asked. "Can you really help me?" Dr. Cross studied her for a moment, then nodded. "I wouldn't have called you if I couldn't." He walked over to a machine with glowing blue coils. Wires ran from it like veins. "Your condition is not beyond repair," he said. "Your nerves are dead, but your body is still alive. What if I told you that we could restart them?" Emma frowned. "That's impossible." Dr. Cross smirked. "Everything is impossible, until it's not." He held up his hands. "These hands," he said, "are not normal. They have been enhanced with something beyond human technology. When I touch something, I can change it. I can bring life back where it was lost." Emma's breath caught in her throat. Was he insane? Or was he telling the truth? The first touch. Dr. Cross pulled up a chair and gestured to her legs. "If you want to leave, you can. But if you want to try, let me place my hands on your legs. If I fail, you lose nothing. If I succeed, you walk." Emma stared at him. Every part of her screamed that this was madness, but deep inside, a tiny ember of hope burned. She took a deep breath and nodded. He knelt before her and placed his hands gently on her legs. At first, she felt nothing. Then, a spark, a strange, tingling sensation shot through her skin. It was warm, like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. Then the feeling grew. It spread through her muscles, her bones, her veins. Her legs, which had felt dead for years, were suddenly alive with energy. The sensation was so overwhelming that she gasped. Dr. Cross's eyes darkened. "It's working," he murmured. Emma couldn't speak. She could feel her legs, not just as dead weight, but truly feel them. The pressure of the chair against them, the way her skin tingled with warmth. Then something impossible happened. Her toe twitched. A single, small movement. But it was enough. Emma's heart raced. She hadn't moved her legs in 10 years, and now she had. Her hands trembled. She looked up at Dr. Cross, her eyes wide with disbelief. What did you do?" He stood up and simply said, "I woke them up." The suspense begins. Emma's mind swirled with questions. Was this a dream? A trick? Or was she truly witnessing something beyond human science? Dr. Cross stepped back, his expression unreadable. "This is just the beginning," he said. Emma looked down at her legs. For 10 years, they had been useless. But now she had felt something. And if this was only the beginning, then what came next? She had to find out. As she sat there, her mind racing, one thought burned in her mind. What if I can really walk again? The experiment begins. Emma's mind was a storm of thoughts. Her heart pounded against her ribs as she stared at her toe, the toe that had moved for the first time in 10 years. It was impossible. It defied every medical explanation, every doctor's verdict. And yet, it had happened. Dr. Adrian Cross stood before her, his sharp blue eyes locked onto hers, but he offered no words of reassurance. He didn't need to. The proof was there, right in front of them. A deep fear clawed at the edges of Emma's mind. What had he done? Her hands clenched into fists. This isn't normal," she whispered, her voice shaking. Dr. Cross gave a slight nod. "No, it isn't." Emma's throat tightened. How is this possible? He exhaled slowly, folding his arms. "Science," he said simply, "but not the kind you've been told about." That answer only made her more nervous. The dim glow of the underground lab flickered as strange machines hummed softly in the background. Wires ran along the walls like veins, pulsating with an eerie blue light. Everything about this place felt wrong, like it wasn't just a normal lab. Emma swallowed. "What did you do to me?" Cross studied her for a moment before responding. "I activated something that had been dormant inside you." She frowned. "What does that even mean?" His jaw tightened. "Your nerves weren't just damaged, Emma. They were deliberately shut down." Her blood turned to ice. "What?" she breathed. Dr. Cross motioned toward a holographic screen. A detailed scan of her nervous system appeared, glowing in midair. He pointed at the spinal cord, where tiny foreign objects were embedded deep within the tissue. "These aren't natural," he said. "They aren't from your accident, either." Emma felt her breath hitch. "Then, what are they?" Cross hesitated before answering. "A type of biolock, a neural suppressor designed to block signals from your brain to your legs." Emma stared at the screen, her mind struggling to process his words. Someone had done this to her. "No," she said, shaking her head. "That's not possible. The doctors never found them because they weren't looking for them." Cross interrupted. "They thought your injuries were permanent. But these weren't injuries, Emma. They were implants." A sick feeling twisted in her gut. "Are you saying someone paralyzed me on purpose?" Dr. Cross didn't answer right away. That silence was enough. Emma's hands gripped the arms of her wheelchair. Her entire life, the years of suffering, the lost opportunities, the nights she had spent crying, feeling broken, had all been engineered by someone. She felt her body tremble, not from fear, but from rage. "Who?" she demanded. "Who did this?" Cross turned away, adjusting a control panel on one of the machines. "That's what we need to find out." Emma's heart was hammering inside her chest. "You said you activated something inside me. What does that mean?" Dr. Cross sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "I removed the suppression, but it's not just about restoring your ability to walk. There's something more." Emma narrowed her eyes. "More?" Cross hesitated, then walked over to her. He knelt beside her wheelchair again, his gaze dead serious. "I need you to trust me." Emma almost laughed. "Trust? After everything he had just told her?" "I don't even know what you are," she shot back. A shadow crossed his face, but he didn't argue. Instead, He slowly reached out and placed his hands on her legs again. "Do you want to walk or not?" he asked. Emma's breath hitched. The thought of standing up, of walking, running, feeling the ground beneath her feet again, was like a distant dream. She had convinced herself long ago that it was impossible. But now it wasn't. She nodded. "Do it." Dr. Cross closed his eyes, and the moment his hands touched her legs, everything changed. The power awakens. A sudden warmth spread through Emma's limbs, but this time it wasn't just a tingling sensation. It was alive. It pulsed and throbbed like an electric current running through her veins. She gasped as pain shot through her legs. Sharp, unbearable pain. It was as if something deep inside her was waking up, fighting to be free. Her fingers dug into the chair's armrests as her body burned from the inside out. "What's happening?" she choked out. Dr. Cross didn't answer. His eyes remained shut, his hands pressing against her skin. The air around them grew thick, humming with invisible energy. Then she felt it. Her legs moved. Not just a toe this time. Her knees twitched. Her muscles tensed. The dead weight that had been part of her for 10 years was no longer lifeless. Emma let out a shaky breath. It was real. The pain began to subside, replaced by a strange new feeling. Strength. Dr. Cross pulled his hands away, his breath heavy, his face slightly pale. He stood up and stepped back. Emma looked down at her legs. Slowly, shakily, she placed her hands on the wheelchair's arms and pushed. Her body trembled. Her legs wobbled. Then she stood. For the first time in 10 years, she was standing. Tears burned in her eyes. Her entire body shook, her muscles weak, but she didn't care. She was on her feet. She met Dr. Cross's gaze. "How? How did you?" But before he could answer, a loud alarm blared through the lab. A red light flashed. The machines around them began to shut down. Dr. Cross's face darkened. "They found us." Emma's breath hitched. "Who?" He grabbed a small device from the desk and handed it to her. No time to explain. "If you want to live, you need to move." Emma barely had time to process his words before the door to the lab burst open. Dark figures in black combat suits stormed inside, guns raised. Their faces were hidden behind masks. One of them pointed directly at her. "Take the girl." Emma's pulse pounded. She had just gotten her legs back. And now, she had to run for her life. The painful awakening. The room was chaos. The red warning lights bathed everything in a crimson glow, casting jagged shadows on the walls. The air was thick with the scent of burnt circuits and metal. Emma barely had time to react before the masked soldiers rushed toward her. "Move," Dr. Cross shouted. Her body reacted before her mind could catch up. She turned, staggering forward. Her legs, weak from 10 years of stillness, almost gave out beneath her. But they didn't. She was walking. Not perfectly, not gracefully, but she was walking. The first soldier lunged at her. Emma's instincts screamed at her to run, but she wasn't fast enough. Then, boom! A sudden pulse of blue energy exploded from the center of the room. The force sent the soldiers flying backward. Machines shattered, sparks rained down like fireflies. Emma turned in shock. Dr. Cross stood behind her, his right hand glowing with a strange energy. The air around him crackled. His face was dark with fury. "They sent grunts," he muttered. "Underestimating me was their first mistake." Emma's breath came in sharp gasps. She had no idea what had just happened, but there was no time for questions. More soldiers flooded into the lab. Cross turned to her. "Emma, listen to me." Her heart pounded. "What?" "No time," he snapped. "Your body is still adjusting. You won't be able to fight, but you can run. You must run." Emma's legs still felt unsteady, but her fear was greater than her weakness. The men recovered and raised their weapons. Emma ran. The escape, she pushed forward, her legs screaming in protest. Every step felt like breaking through invisible chains, but she didn't stop. She couldn't stop. Bullets tore through the air behind her. Sparks exploded from the walls as the lab was torn apart. Cross was right behind her, moving impossibly fast. He slammed his hand against a control panel, and a hidden door slid open. "This way," he shouted. Emma didn't hesitate. She stumbled inside, her breath ragged. As soon as Cross followed, the door slammed shut behind them. The noise of the battle faded. Silence. Emma clutched her chest, trying to steady her breathing. Cross exhaled. That was close. Emma turned to face him, her mind spinning. What the hell just happened? Cross wiped sweat from his brow. "They found us sooner than I expected." Emma's fists clenched. "Who are they? Why are they after me?" He leaned against the wall, his expression unreadable. "Because you were never supposed to walk again." Emma swallowed hard. She had suspected as much, but hearing it out loud sent a chill through her body. "Who are they?" she whispered. Cross exhaled sharply. "They're called the Authority. They control advanced technology, beyond what the world knows. They operate in the shadows, pulling strings no one even realizes exist." Emma's mind reeled. "And they did this to me?" Cross nodded. "They didn't want you dead. They wanted you helpless." Emma's hands shook. She felt a deep, burning anger rise in her chest. 10 years. 10 years of suffering. All because someone decided it. "Why me?" she asked. Cross hesitated, then finally said, "Because you were part of something bigger, something they couldn't control." Emma's stomach tightened. "What do you mean?" He ran a hand through his hair. "I don't have all the answers yet, but I do know this. Your accident wasn't an accident. And whatever they did to you, it wasn't just to keep you in a wheelchair. It was to keep you from realizing what you truly are." A shiver ran down Emma's spine. "What I truly am." Cross met her gaze. Not just human. The experiment's price. Silence hung between them. Emma didn't know how to respond to that. It was insane. Ridiculous. Impossible. And yet, so was the fact that she was standing here, using legs that were supposed to be useless. She sucked in a breath. "What did you do to me?" Cross straightened. "I didn't change you, Emma. I just turned something back on." His words sent a cold wave through her body. She looked down at her hands. Was she different now? Then, a strange sensation coursed through her body. It was faint, but there, a vibration beneath her skin. A low hum, like electricity running through her veins. She gasped. "I feel weird." Cross watched her carefully. "It's beginning." A sharp pain flared in her legs. She stumbled. Cross caught her before she fell. "You're still adjusting," he said. "Your body is waking up after 10 years of suppression. It's going to be painful." Emma clenched her teeth as another surge of heat rolled through her muscles. It felt like fire and ice colliding inside her. "I don't understand," she groaned. "What's happening to me?" Cross hesitated before answering. "You were never meant to be normal, Emma." Her breath caught in her throat. Cross stepped back and pulled out a small device. It flickered to life, displaying a file, a classified document with her name on it. Emma's heart nearly stopped. "What is this?" she whispered. Cross's voice was grim. "Proof." She scanned the document, her eyes catching chilling words. Subject 017. Neural suppression trial. Status: paralyzed. High risk of awakening. Directive: maintain inhibition. Termination if necessary. Emma's blood turned to ice. This wasn't just an accident. This was a cover-up. They had done this to her, deliberately. And if what Cross said was true, they were going to kill her if they couldn't keep her controlled. She felt rage boiling inside her. "I want to know everything," she said through gritted teeth. "Every single thing they did to me." Cross nodded. "Then we need to move, because now that you're awake, they won't stop hunting you." Emma clenched her fists. For 10 years, she had been a prisoner in her own body. Not anymore. She took a deep breath and took a step forward. No more running. No more hiding. It was time to fight back. The dark truth unfolds. The old tunnels beneath the city smelled of damp concrete and rusted metal. Emma's footsteps echoed, uneven and shaky, as she followed Dr. Adrian Cross through the labyrinth of abandoned passageways. She still wasn't used to walking. Every step felt like rebellion. Against the years of helplessness, against the lies she had been fed, against whoever had stolen her life. But the pain was there too. Her muscles ached with every movement, like an ancient machine forced back to life. And something else was stirring beneath her skin, a sensation she couldn't explain. It wasn't just that she could walk again. It was something more. She could feel energy pulsing deep inside her veins. It hummed softly in the background, like a second heartbeat. It wasn't normal. It wasn't human. She clenched her fists, swallowing down the rising panic. "Where are we going?" she asked, trying to focus. Cross didn't slow his pace. "Somewhere safe, for now." Emma scowled. "That's not an answer." Cross sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "We don't have time for answers, Emma. They'll be tracking us." Emma stopped walking. "Then make time." Cross turned, his expression unreadable. Emma took a deep breath, forcing herself to stay calm. "I just found out that I was never supposed to walk again because some secret organization decided it. I was experimented on, lied to, hunted." Her voice hardened. "So, yeah, I want answers. And I want them now." Cross exhaled, studying her for a long moment. Then, finally, he nodded. "All right," he said, "but you need to be ready for the truth." Emma swallowed. "I've been ready for 10 years. Cross motioned toward an old metal door at the end of the tunnel. "Then step inside." The forgotten files. The room beyond was small and dimly lit. A single flickering bulb hung from the ceiling, casting long shadows on the walls. A makeshift workstation stood in the center, surrounded by old monitors and stacks of files. Emma's gaze landed on the screens. They displayed classified documents, each stamped with the insignia of the authority, and her name was on every single one of them. Her stomach twisted. Cross picked up a worn file and handed it to her. "This is where it starts." Emma hesitated for only a moment before opening it. Her eyes scanned the first page, her pulse pounding. Subject 017, Neural Suppression Trial. Status: Paralyzed. High risk of awakening. Directive: maintain inhibition. Termination if necessary. Emma's fingers trembled. Termination if necessary. "They were going to kill me," she whispered. Cross nodded grimly. "If you ever showed signs of recovery." Emma's breath hitched. She flipped to the next page. And that's when she saw it, a photograph of herself as a child. She frowned. This is me. But this picture is from before the accident." Cross took a step closer. "Look at the date." Emma's gaze flicked to the timestamp at the bottom of the page. It was 15 years ago. Her stomach dropped. "This file existed before my accident," she murmured. Cross nodded. "They were watching you long before you lost your legs." Emma's grip tightened on the paper. "Why?" Cross took a slow breath. "Because you weren't born like everyone else. The secret they tried to bury." Emma's mind reeled. What the hell did that mean? "I'm human," she said, her voice sharp. "I was born. I grew up. I had a normal life before." Cross shook his head. "Not exactly." Emma felt her pulse quicken. "Explain." Cross tapped on one of the monitors. It brought up a biological scan of her. Her eyes widened. It wasn't normal. Her nervous system glowed faintly, marked with strange patterns of energy running through her spine, her limbs, her brain. "This isn't possible," she whispered. Cross folded his arms. "Emma, you weren't supposed to be just another human. You were part of something much bigger. An experiment that was never meant to be discovered. Emma felt a chill crawl up her spine. What kind of experiment? Cross hesitated. Then, finally, he spoke. The authority wasn't just watching you, he said. They created you. Silence. Emma's breath caught in her throat. What? Cross gestured toward the scans. Your DNA isn't fully human, Emma. It's modified. Engineered. Your body was designed to do things no normal person can do. Emma took a step back, shaking her head. No, that's insane. Cross's expression darkened. Is it? He pointed at her. You couldn't walk for 10 years. Now you can. Emma opened her mouth, but no words came. He stepped closer. And you feel it, don't you? The energy inside you. The way your body wants to move. She swallowed hard. Her hands trembled. Because he was right. She could feel it. A power humming inside her, growing stronger. This can't be real, she whispered. Cross sighed. I know it's a lot, but it's the truth. Emma's head spun. Her entire life had been a lie. She clenched her fists. Then why did they take it away from me? Why paralyze me? Cross's face hardened. Because you weren't supposed to survive. Emma's heart pounded. The project that created you, Cross continued, was shut down before you ever reached full potential. Someone in the authority didn't want you to exist. So they erased you. Wiped everything clean. Emma felt a deep, burning rage build inside her. They had taken everything from her. Her legs. Her life. And now, she knew why. She looked at Cross, her eyes fierce. What happens now? Cross held her gaze. Now you fight back. A slow, determined smile spread across Emma's lips. For 10 years, she had been powerless. A victim. A prisoner. Not anymore. She rolled her shoulders. The power inside her was waking up. She wasn't going to run. She was going to hunt. The escape plan. The room felt smaller now, suffocating with the weight of the truth. Emma's hands trembled as she stared at the files in front of her. She wasn't just a victim. She was a mistake they had tried to erase. The authority had paralyzed her, not because of an accident, but because they feared what she could become. And now she was awake. She turned to Dr. Cross, her breath steady, but her mind racing. If they wanted me erased, why didn't they just kill me? Cross met her gaze. Because someone inside the authority wanted you alive. Emma frowned. What? Cross pointed at the files. These documents weren't just reports on you. Some of them, these ones, were written by someone who tried to protect you. Someone who convinced them that keeping you paralyzed was a better solution than eliminating you. Emma scanned the documents, her eyes landing on a name. Project Lazarus, lead researcher, Dr. Evelyn Carter. Emma's pulse quickened. I know that name, she murmured. Cross nodded. She was one of the authority's top scientists. She disappeared 5 years ago. No records, no trace, just gone. Emma clenched her fists. You think she's still alive? Cross exhaled. I don't think. I know. Emma's heartbeat pounded in her ears. If this Dr. Carter had fought to keep her alive, then she was the key to everything. We have to find her, she said firmly. Cross gave a grim smile. That was already the plan. A hunter's become the hunted. Cross turned toward the console, typing in commands. The monitors flickered to life, showing maps, encrypted data streams, and satellite images. They'll come looking for us soon, he said. We have a short window before they track us. Emma narrowed her eyes. You mean before they try to kill me? Cross's jaw tightened. Yes. She folded her arms. Then we hit first. Cross glanced at her, something like approval flickering in his gaze. You're thinking like a soldier now. Emma smirked. I'm thinking like someone who's tired of running. Cross tapped on the screen, bringing up a map of the city. There's an underground transport hub 2 miles from here. If we can reach it, we can get to the Black Line Network, a system of hidden tunnels used by off-grid operatives. From there, we find Carter. Emma nodded. And if the authority finds us first? Cross looked at her. Then you fight. Emma's heart pounded. 10 years in a wheelchair. 10 years of helplessness. She had dreamed of walking again, of taking back what was stolen. Now she had her legs back. And she wasn't just going to run. She was going to fight. The first strike. The two of them moved quickly, packing what little supplies they had. Cross handed Emma a sleek wrist-mounted device. "What's this?" she asked. Cross smirked. "A gift. Neural-linked interface. It'll react to your bioelectric signals." Emma raised an eyebrow. "Which means?" Cross tapped his temple. "It means you think, and it obeys." Emma turned the device over in her hands. "And what does it do?" Cross grinned. "You'll find out." They exited through a hidden passage, stepping into the night. The city was quiet, the streets empty. But Emma knew better. They were being watched. She could feel it, a tingling at the edge of her senses, a presence just out of sight. Something had changed inside her. She wasn't just hearing things. She was sensing them. Cross stopped, holding up a hand. "They're here." Emma nodded. "I know." Cross glanced at her, surprised. "You can feel them." Emma didn't respond. She just turned her head toward the rooftop across the street. Shadows shifted. A glint of metal. Snipers. She shouldn't have been able to see them in the dark, but somehow, she did. "They're moving," she said softly. Cross didn't question her. He simply nodded. Then the first shot rang out. Emma ducked instinctively as a bullet whizzed past her ear, embedding itself in the wall behind her. Cross pulled her down behind cover. "We need to move. Now." Emma glanced at her wrist device. Time to see what it does. She focused, willing it to activate. And then, it responded. A pulse of blue light flickered across the surface. The world around her seemed to slow, her perception sharpening. She could see the trajectories of the bullets before they fired. Her muscles felt lighter, faster. She moved. Not like before. Not like a woman who had just regained her legs. Like something more. She darted forward, evading gunfire with impossible precision. She closed the distance between her and the first sniper in seconds. The soldier barely had time to react before she reached him. She shouldn't have been able to move this fast. But she did. Her instincts took over. She grabbed his weapon, twisting it free. The next second, she slammed him against the rooftop, knocking him unconscious. One down. The second sniper turned, raising his weapon. Too slow. Emma was already moving. She lunged, sweeping his legs out from under him. Before he could recover, she pressed her palm to his chest, and electricity surged from her fingertips. The soldier convulsed, his body locking up before collapsing. Emma stepped back, staring at her own hands in shock. What the hell was that? Cross's voice crackled through her earpiece. "Emma, get moving." She didn't have time to process what had just happened. She ran. The war begins. They reached the transport hub minutes later. Emma was still breathing hard, her mind racing. Cross looked at her. What happened back there? Emma shook her head. "I don't know." She clenched her fists, staring at them. "But I think I'm starting to remember what they were afraid of." Cross studied her. "You're evolving." Emma exhaled. Was that it? Had the authority locked her away because they feared what she might become? If so, then they had made a big mistake. Because now she was awake. And she was coming for them. Cross tapped into the console, activating the underground transport. Next stop, Carter's last known location. Emma nodded, stepping onto the platform. For the first time in 10 years, she wasn't just surviving. She was fighting back. And she was going to win. The showdown. The underground transport rumbled beneath the city, cutting through abandoned tunnels that hadn't seen life in decades. The dim blue lights inside the vehicle flickered, casting eerie shadows against the metal walls. Emma sat across from Dr. Cross, staring at her hands. They looked the same as they always had. 10 fingers, smooth skin, a faint scar on her right palm from childhood. But something was different. She clenched her fists, and for a brief moment, she felt it again. A pulse, a current running beneath her skin, like the energy she had unleashed against the soldier on the rooftop. She had felt powerful. No, she had felt alive. Cross watched her carefully. "You're changing." Emma met his gaze. "I know." Cross hesitated, then leaned forward. "Your body is reacting faster than I expected. The neural suppression they placed in you, it didn't just block your ability to walk. It was holding back everything." Emma's jaw tightened. "What exactly am I becoming?" Cross exhaled. "Something more than human." The words sent a chill down her spine. She wasn't sure if it was fear or something else entirely. Before she could respond, the transport slowed, coming to a stop. "We're here," Cross said. Emma turned toward the doors as they slid open, revealing a dark, abandoned station. Dust swirled in the cold air, and the distant hum of overhead generators echoed through the vast underground chamber. Somewhere beyond these tunnels was Dr. Evelyn Carter, the only person who might have the answers she desperately needed. A trail of ghosts. Cross led the way, stepping onto the cracked stone platform. Emma followed, her step steady, confident. It still felt surreal. Walking, moving, fighting after 10 years in a wheelchair. Every step was a rebellion. Carter's last known location was here, Cross said, scanning a handheld device. She set up a hidden lab after she left the authority. Emma frowned. "And you're sure she's still alive?" Cross hesitated. "I'm sure someone doesn't want us to find her." Emma's stomach twisted. That wasn't a good sign. They moved deeper into the tunnels, past rusted train tracks and broken control panels. Strange graffiti covered the walls, symbols Emma didn't recognize. Then, Cross stopped. Emma followed his gaze and felt her breath hitch. A door, half buried in debris, marked with Carter's name. Cross glanced at her. "You ready for this?" Emma nodded. "Let's go." The last scientist. Cross forced the door open, and they stepped inside. The lab was small, cluttered with old equipment, monitors blinking with long-forgotten data. Papers were scattered across the desks, and thick cables ran along the walls, connecting to a central console. And then, a voice. "You shouldn't be here." Emma spun around. A woman stood at the far end of the room, a gun pointed at them. She was older than Emma had expected, maybe in her late 50s, her hair streaked with gray. But her eyes, sharp, calculating, reminded Emma of someone who had spent a lifetime running. Dr. Evelyn Carter. Cross lifted his hands. "We're not your enemy." Carter's gaze flicked to Emma, and something changed in her expression. "You," she whispered. "They told me you were dead." Emma's pulse pounded. They lied. Carter slowly lowered the gun. "Of course they did." Emma stepped forward. "You worked for the authority. You fought to keep me alive." Carter exhaled. "And I failed." Emma's fists clenched. "Then help me now." Carter studied her for a long moment. Then she turned to the console and began typing. "You don't know what you really are, do you?" Emma swallowed. "No." Carter nodded. "Then let me show you." The screen flickered, displaying a series of classified files. One word stood out, bold and unmistakable. Pro-GCTEC. Emma's breath caught. "What is that?" Carter's voice was quiet. "You." The truth about Emma. The screen displayed a DNA sequence, but it wasn't like any human DNA Emma had ever seen. It was different. The strands glowed faintly, filled with extra sequences, additional layers. "You were never just human, Emma," Carter said. "You were engineered to be something more." Emma felt her heart hammer against her ribs. "Modified," she whispered. "For what?" Carter turned to her. "For war." Emma's blood ran cold. Carter continued, her voice tight. The Authority wasn't just experimenting on you. They were creating something new, something designed to be stronger, faster, more adaptable than any human. They called it Project Echo. Emma swallowed hard. Carter met her gaze. You were their first success. Silence filled the room. Emma's breath was shaky. You're saying, I'm a weapon. Carter shook her head. No. You were meant to be. But someone changed the plan. Someone hid you away, wiped your memory, and shut down your abilities. Emma felt like the floor was tilting beneath her. All this time, she whispered, I thought I was broken. But I wasn't. Carter's expression softened. No, Emma. You were never broken. You were just asleep. Emma clenched her fists. And now? Carter smiled faintly. Now, you're awake. A slow fire burned in Emma's chest. She wasn't weak. She wasn't helpless. She was built for more. And the Authority had spent 10 years trying to bury that truth. They had failed. No more running. Emma turned to Cross. We end this. Cross nodded. Agreed. Carter hesitated. Emma, listen to me. You're powerful, but the Authority is bigger than you can imagine. If you go after them, they will fight back. Hard. Emma met her gaze. Steady. Unshaken. Let them try. Carter exhaled. Then I'll help you. She turned back to the console, fingers flying across the keys. There's one last location you need to see. The place where they started everything. The place where they created you. The screen flickered. A map appeared. A single red marker blinked. Emma stared at the coordinates. She didn't recognize them, but she knew where she was going. It was time to finish this. A new beginning. The wind howled through the skeletal ruins of the facility. The place where it all began. The place where Emma was created. She stood on the cracked pavement, staring up at the towering, decayed structure. The Authority had abandoned this site years ago, wiping its existence from public records. But Emma knew better. Secrets don't die. They get buried. And now she was here to dig them up. Dr. Cross stood beside her, checking his gear. Dr. Carter remained behind, relaying intel through their comms. This is it. Carter's voice crackled through Emma's earpiece. Everything leads back to this facility. If the Authority has a last resort, you'll find it there. Emma took a slow breath. No more running. No more hiding. This was the endgame. Cross glanced at her. Ready? Emma flexed her fingers. The energy inside her hummed, more alive than ever. Let's go. The labyrinth of lies. The front doors were sealed, but that didn't matter. Emma raised her hand, focused, and pushed. A shockwave of energy erupted from her palm, blasting the doors inward. Dust and debris scattered into the dark halls beyond. She barely flinched. This power, it belonged to her now. Cross gave a low whistle. Remind me never to stand in front of you when you do that. Emma smirked. Come on. The inside of the facility was silent. Too silent. The walls were lined with broken monitors, flickering with static. Emma's footsteps echoed eerily as she moved deeper. Then she saw them. The pods. Rows upon rows of glass chambers, covered in frost, their contents hidden behind thick ice. Some were shattered, their insides empty. Others weren't. Emma's breath hitched. People. Or at least, what used to be people. Their bodies were frozen in time, part human, part experiment. Some had extra limbs. Others had wires fused into their skin. A cold rage burned in her chest. This is what they were doing, she whispered. This is what I was supposed to be. Cross walked up to one of the pods, wiping the frost away. Inside, a figure's eyes were open, but lifeless. Not all of them survived, he muttered. Emma clenched her fists. But I did. Then, the lights flickered. A low, mechanical voice echoed through the facility. Unauthorized presence detected. Cross stiffened. That's not good. The alarms blared. Doors slammed shut. Red lights bathed the hall in an eerie glow. And then they came. The authorities' last line of defense. The first one moved faster than humanly possible, a blur of metal and flesh. Emma barely dodged in time. The creature, once a man, now something more, lashed out with a mechanical arm, sharp like a blade. More followed. Enhanced soldiers, the authorities' last creations. "Move," Cross shouted. Emma didn't hesitate. She attacked. She wasn't the same person she had been days ago. She ducked under the soldier's strike, planting a hand on his chest, and unleashed a surge of energy. Boom! The impact sent the soldier crashing into the wall. Unmoving. Another came at her. Emma sidestepped, her reflexes faster, sharper. Her body knew what to do. They built me for war, she thought. Now they get to see what I become. She landed a brutal strike to the next soldier's jaw, sending him sprawling. The power within her sang, pushing her beyond human limits. Cross fired his weapon, taking down another. "Emma, we can't fight them forever." She knew he was right. They had to get to the core, to the person running this place. She grabbed Cross's wrist. "We go up." The final confrontation. The elevator ride was silent. Emma's breathing was steady. Her body was thrumming with power. When the doors slid open, she stepped into a massive, darkened control room. And there, standing before her, was him, the man who had ordered her paralysis, the director. He turned slowly, as if he had been expecting her. He was older, dressed in a pristine suit, his hair silvered with age. But his eyes were cold. "You were never meant to be here," he said. His voice was calm, unshaken. Emma stepped forward. "And yet, here I am." The director sighed. "You have no idea what you are tampering with." Emma smiled coldly. "Then why are you afraid?" For the first time, his mask cracked. Then he pressed a button. The floor beneath them rumbled. The walls pulled back, revealing a massive machine at the center of the room. Inside the glass chamber, something stirred. Emma's blood ran cold. It was another her. A second Emma. Eyes closed, body suspended in some kind of containment field. "What?" she whispered. The director watched her. "You were just the prototype. This is the final version." The other Emma's eyes snapped open, and everything exploded. The last fight. The impact sent Emma crashing into the wall. Pain flared, but she forced herself up, just in time to see herself stepping out of the containment chamber. The clone. It moved faster than she did. It struck harder, stronger. Emma barely blocked the first attack, her arms burning from the force. She gritted her teeth. "You're not me." The clone tilted its head. "I am what you were supposed to be." Emma's eyes narrowed. "Then let's see who's better." They clashed. Fists met, power surging between them. The facility shook from their battle, glass shattering, machines sparking. The clone was fast, too fast. Emma had to think, had to be smarter. Then she realized the clone had no soul. It was perfect, precise, cold. But Emma had something more. A will to survive. A fire that couldn't be replicated. She waited, then struck. She let go of control, letting her power fully explode outward. A shockwave rippled through the room, tearing through the walls. The clone staggered, caught off guard. Emma didn't hesitate. She grabbed it by the throat. "You are not me." Then she sent every last bit of her power into it, and watched as it crumbled. The director's face twisted in horror. No, that was the future. Emma turned to him. "No, I am the future." With one final blast, she ended it. The director was gone. The authority was over. A new beginning. The facility burned behind them as Emma and Cross walked away. She was free. But this wasn't the end. She wasn't just going to disappear. She was going to make sure no one else suffered like she did. Cross glanced at her. So what now? Emma looked at the horizon. Now, she said, we rebuild, and the world would never be the same.